Today, Americans are headed to the polls to vote in what's seen as a verdict on U.S. President Donald Trump's presidency. Issues at stake include LGBTQ rights, immigration, and health care. So far, turnout is on track to be the largest in 50 years, with more than 34 million Americans already having voted. Joining us this morning from Washington with the latest is CTV News' Todd Vanderheyden. Todd, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Ben. Good to talk to you.
All right, we're going to bring up a board that shows the breakdown of the House of Representatives. Right now, the Republicans are holding a 235-193 advantage. Most experts are saying that it's likely that the Democrats can flip the House. If that happens, what happens to Trump's agenda?
Well, great question. It is going to derail the president's agenda to a certain extent. As you know, Ben, the Republicans have controlled both houses of Congress for the past 2 years, and all of a sudden, if the Democrats get the House of Representatives, that will be a real check on the president's power and on the Republicans' power here in Washington. And so you could see a number of things unfold as a result of that. First of all, a number of these agendas, such as economic nationalism and immigration and health care, all of a sudden the Democrats would be able to push back and try and stop Donald Trump's agenda on that. You are right that according to the polls, they are on track to take back the House of Representatives. They need to win 23 more seats. Sounds like a lot, but not when you consider there are 435 districts, 435 congressmen and women up for re-election today. And so it does seem like there could be a blue wave, that they could win 23, perhaps 30, even as much as 40 different seats in the House of Representatives, which would be, of course, great news for the Democrats, Ben.
The blue wave, according to experts, could probably crest and end in the House of Representatives because it doesn't look like they're going to take the Senate. What would that mean for Republicans moving forward?
Well, that would be a great win for them to hold the Senate. And by the way, not just hold the Senate, Ben, but possibly expand. As you say, the Republicans have a majority, 51 seats to 49 for the Democrats. The reality is this time around, there are some Democratic senators who are at extreme risk. So what people should be watching for today are states like North Dakota. Senator Heidi Heitkamp is at risk there, a Democratic senator. Also in Missouri, Claire McCaskill. But places like Montana and West Virginia, Indiana and Florida, those 6 states where they have Democratic senators, all 6 of them voted heavily for Donald Trump, Ben, 2 years ago. And so you could see the Democrats actually lose a couple of seats in the Senate. That would allow the Republicans to be able to declare something of a victory. Remember, historically, a sitting president always loses ground in midterm elections. So if Donald Trump were to lose the House of Representatives but be able to increase the Republicans' foothold in the Senate, he would no doubt be able to declare at least a partial victory.
Todd, Prime Minister Trudeau has said that he's willing to work with anyone south of the border, but the new makeup of Congress could change the dynamic between Canada and the U.S. What kind of impact could this election have on us north of the border?
The reality is, of course, a Canadian Prime Minister has, really little option but to work with whoever is in the Oval Office. Here's one concrete example, though, of how this could actually shift. Because if the Democrats take control of the House of Representatives, we have already heard some signals from them and messages. They might want to be looking at the USMCA, the successor to NAFTA, looking at that key trade deal, perhaps not ratify it, because remember, it has not been ratified yet. And that would be certainly one way for them to thwart Donald Trump's agenda. Also, of course, which have a big impact on Canada, we're also going to look at the fact that if the House of Congress is divided, if you have the Democrats in the House and the Republicans in the Senate, that would lead to a quagmire and a gridlock here in Washington. So the domestic agenda, Ben, would really become very paramount, and you'd see the United States even less engaged in the world and certainly less engaged with partners like Canada as well. Remember that as soon as these midterms are over today, as of tomorrow, we begin the race for the White House in 2020, and that is going to be a huge focus. One final point, people should be looking at turnout today. That's going to be so key for both parties. Who has the passion, the organization to get their supporters to the polls? Is it the anger on the part of the Democrats, some of whom feel this is an illegitimate president and want to send a message that they're not happy with Donald Trump in the Oval Office? Or is it the Republicans who are angry that the fate of their country is at stake? All of this angry talk about immigration and invaders coming up from the South. So we'll see how that plays out. By the way, the polls are now open. They opened at 5 o'clock in the morning in Vermont. They're open in many other states in the East as of 6 o'clock. And right now, the rest of them are now open in the East as of 7 a.m.
Todd Vanderheyden in Washington, thanks for unpacking that for us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Ben.